We are very excited to have everyone here today for this discussion. And today I'm joined with my fellow NC representative, Rebecca Trujillo. And we were going to start off with
We are very excited to have everyone here
introduction. Yulitsa, can you mute yourself? I think.
And we were off with, we are very excited to have everyone introduction.
I apologize.
Okay, we're going to start off with a brief introduction onto what is imposter syndrome. And then we are joined by two very special guests tonight, where they will be talking about their own experience with imposter syndrome. So I'm going to share a presentation. So imposter syndrome. Many of you guys might have heard it called differently, maybe like imposterism or imposter experience or many different other names. But imposter syndrome is, according to the Harvard University, can be defined as a collection of feelings or inadequacy that persists despite evident success. So this might look like you walking into a room full of very educated and experienced, successful people and feeling like you do not belong there, feeling inadequate or that you don't live up to those standards, even if there is an extreme amount of evidence proving otherwise. So and we are going to move on to who can experience imposterism or the symptoms of imposterism. So some of these things can come up as perfectionism, overworking, self-critical, self-sabotage, depression, anxiety, burnout, or difficulty with criticism. Difficulty with criticism, even if it is just constructive criticism, even if it's not meant to degrade you, sometimes it can be very hard to hear when you're already self-doubting. And even though depression, anxiety isn't strictly associated, tied to imposter syndrome, it can come up because of imposter syndrome. And sometimes people can be very self-sabotaging in a sense that they think that they can't do something, so they just decide to not do it at all. Instead of, some other people might overcompensate and work extra hard to try to live up to their own standards because they think that they're inadequate. But these are just some of the symptoms of imposter syndrome. They can come up very differently for people. Maybe some people will experience perfectionism, but others may not. It's very unique experience to the person, especially considering the type of situation that they're in. Okay, and then now we're going to move on to who can experience imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome can be experienced by anyone. It is not solely just a specific group of people, although there is a lot of evidence suggesting that there are specific groups who are more likely to experience it more than others. And these groups tend to be marginalized groups, such as women, members of the LGBTQ plus community, students with disability or people with disabilities in general, Black, Indigenous, people of color, low-income individuals, and first-gen students as well. And the reason for this is because there is a lot of stereotypes associated to these identities and these groups that can really affect people a certain way. A study conducted by Harvard University revealed that 54% of women experience imposter syndrome compared to 24% of men. And whenever you add a race to that, the numbers jump. So according to a study conducted at the University of Texas in Austin, Black and Latinos are disproportionately affected by imposter syndrome because of negative stereotypes about their intelligence and their capabilities. And this can come up in academia, their career, and even the home life. Sometimes you could feel like maybe you're not smart enough to be in the school that you are, or you're not experienced or adequate enough to hold the position or the job title that you have, even when you are completely capable of that. And oftentimes people can even think like they made a mistake hiring me. They thought that they were going to get somebody else. They thought they were going to get somebody better, but they hired you for a reason. You know, they hired you because you went through an extensive like resume review and interview and to get to the position where you are. And the same for like academia and school. Like if you go through the college admission process, there's a lot that goes into that. And the admission office did not accidentally give you acceptance into their college. So yeah, and in the home life as well, like many moms can often feel imposter syndrome. Like they can feel like they're not adequate moms, or they're not like living up to like the mom role. And this can often come from like comparing themselves to other moms. But we would like to take a deeper conversation, a deeper dive into imposter syndrome in like the career-wise. So we have two very special guests with us, Gisela and Stephanie. They are co-founders of True Surprises in Wilmington, North Carolina. And True Surprises is a business that was founded on like love gift giving. The co-founders Gisela and Stephanie were inspired to launch the True Surprises by their own love of gift giving and making people happy. Their vision is not only to provide a gift, but a memorable memory. From the very beginning, they knew that they wanted to do more than just a simple gift basket. They wanted to bring something different to their community, and by creating unique and original gift arrangements and stylish modern balloons installation to make anyone's like vision come true. So we would like to give them a warm welcome. And with this, I'm gonna hand it off to Becky so she can continue with the panel conversation.
Hello, everyone. So I had a small problem with my computer, but I'm here and I'm very excited.
You want to join?
Yeah.
You want to?
I'm very excited to continue this imposter syndrome conversation with Gisela and Stephanie. We are currently here in their business, True Surprises, and we can't wait to get more into this. And thank you, Marlene, for that introduction. So the first question will be directed to Gisela. As Marlene explained, she is the co-founder of this business. And in regards to imposter syndrome, my question is, when did you first experience imposter syndrome in a business setting? And how did you face the challenge to overcome it?
First of all, my name is Gisela Mejia. As Marlene and Rebecca mentioned, I am the owner and co-founder of True Surprises here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And I just wanted to thank everyone for being here and for Rebecca for inviting us. We greatly appreciate it. And to answer your question, I mean, I feel that imposter syndrome, we all face it from the very beginning since we start school. And I think there's just different levels that we face imposter syndrome. But in a business setting, I mean, from the very beginning until even when you're running the business, you have those episodes where that little voice in your mind starts, hey, are you doing good enough? Is it right what you're doing? What could you do better? So I feel there's different stages of imposter syndrome, and it's just finding a way to let that voice out of your head and just focusing on the positive and focusing on everything that you've done. And to answer your question, I mean, myself and Stephanie, we had been thinking for years about opening a business, and just the fear of failure or the fear of, am I good enough? I mean, can I open a business? Am I going to be able to succeed? From there, you're able to see that it's an entire process to be able to get to the point where, hey, you know what? That voice is out of my head. Let me jump to it and let me make it. What's the worst that can happen? And I mean, I remember sitting in the living room, staring at the first post of True Surprises and I was there for hours, just looking at it, going back and saying, should I post? What happens if I post? I don't think I'm the right person for this. So just from that, I mean, I was working for a law firm, and I thought, hey, this is the best I can do. Running a business may be too much for me. Let me just stay here. This is a great opportunity. What am I doing? But then the whole pandemic thing hit. I was home on my phone. I'm like, let me just jump at it. I posted that post, and then my mind, oh my gosh, should I delete it? Did I do the right thing? And instantly I received my first message asking me for pricing. And then I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then slowly but surely we started working together and getting to that. And I mean, it still happens, you know. Now I have the business, and sometimes you're still doubtful. Can I do this? But it's all about focusing on the positive, thinking of everything that you've done to get where you are, and just do the best that you can. You know, and just keep going and stop thinking that you can't do it. Everything's possible if you set your mind to it. And if you ask for self-help and surround with people that have your mentality, that will motivate you to do better, that will motivate you to grow, friends, family, that's the type of people you want to surround yourself. And that's going to make the process way easier for you to slowly get out of that imposter syndrome disease, because it's like a virus, you know, it comes around and then it leaves, you get better, and then it comes around again. So it's just working slowly but surely, but getting there. So it's been a challenge, but again, if you focus on the positive, work on that little mind and say, hey, I'm not going to let you come in again. Let me be me. Let me succeed. Let me see how high I can go. I think things will slowly but surely, you'll start seeing the success and get better. And, you know, you're going to feel much more confident and proud of yourself.
That was awesome. I think that one of the things that you said that really stood out to me is that it still happens.
It still happens.
You never get to a point where it's like, boom, it's cured, it's gone, I don't feel it anymore. It still happens. And it's so important to train your mind, you know, in every aspect, I'm sure, as a business owner, because you can't say, I'm done, I'm shutting it down, we're done here, and I'm going home. No. You can't do that, you know, you have to actually push yourself and cry it out, you know, and you actually have to go that extra mile.
And you overcome it to answer your question, you do overcome once you take the biggest step. So yeah, I do sometimes do have imposter syndrome, but it's not as bad as before I opened the business. Mm-hmm. I think we've taken the hardest step, which is actually doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so
you can't back out at this point.
Exactly. I can't. I gotta pay people.
You're too deep in the hole.
Exactly, you know? Yeah. So you gotta be like, bye-bye. You can't come in right now.
That is awesome. Thank you for that. I think that's very motivating. And I think that looking from the outside, you know, obviously outside looking in, we see everything from, you know, beautiful balloons, you know, beautiful arrangements, but we don't see this side of the business owners, right? Mm-hmm. Especially being a Latina, especially being a first generation business owner, you feel all these things that your customers don't see and that you guys go through. So I think it's very, very cool to keep in mind that these are things that happen in all aspects of a Latina's life. Even if you become a business owner, you're like, oh, as a business owner, you know, I'm untouchable. Nothing's going to stop me. These things will still happen. And once again, that's one of the things that stood out to me the most. These things will happen continuously, and you have to train your mind.
You have to train your mind to not let that voice stop you from doing certain things in your life. Because we all have imposter syndrome. And as Marlene mentioned, we all go through it. Doesn't matter what race you are, but it's just trying to figure out a way, making yourself stronger to be able to not let your voice stop you from being successful in life and from taking those opportunities that you think that it's not worth for you, but for some reason they're giving you those opportunities. So keep on going and don't doubt yourself, for sure.
Thank you so much, Gisela. We're going to hop on to the next question. This one's for Stephanie. And I don't know if we mentioned this already. We're going to do a little bit of Spanglish here for everyone, to, you know, it's a safe space for everyone to feel comfortable. So this question is for, she's like, I'm starting to feel imposter syndrome. Yes, it happens. Even me, you know, like starting this webinar, I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? But yeah, so this is for you, Stephanie. So are there any key triggers of imposter syndrome that is common within the Latina entrepreneur community? So any triggers, any type of specific things that happen, you know, obviously you don't wake up in the morning and boom, imposter syndrome, right? So like, let's say you wake up, you come to the business and someone calls or somebody makes a comment or somebody comes in that looks at you a certain way. Are there any things that you can think of that trigger that imposter syndrome immediately?
Wow. Yes. Well, first of all, hi, everybody. Thank you for having us tonight. And yes, definitely, yo creo que sí, especialmente como latina. I mean, no voy a hablar de nadie, ¿verdad? Pero de alguna manera, si un cliente viene y todos sabemos, ¿verdad? Que el racismo, por decirlo así, existe, ¿verdad? Y si, vamos a decir, llega un cliente americano y por alguna manera yo hice un comentario que tal vez para ellos es malo o me mira de alguna manera, yo me voy a sentir, y me ha pasado, me he sentido con ese síndrome, ¿verdad? Y como latina especialmente, yo siento que las mujeres todavía un poquito más en el modo de la cultura, porque como latina, ahora sí dije la canción de Shakira, ¿qué hacemos? Nos tenemos que casar antes de los 30, ¿verdad? Y hay que hacer que los 15 y esto, que una mujer latina tiene que hacer según la cultura. Y si no lo hacemos, o sea, como la cultura nos ha enseñado, básicamente ya nos sentimos de alguna manera que estamos fallando a nuestros padres, a la cultura, y es donde vienen las dudas, y es donde viene, bueno, este síndrome, ¿verdad?, del que estamos hablando hoy, pero definitivamente sí pasa. Sí, muchísimo, pasa muchísimo.
Ok, entonces, en esa situación, en ese evento donde viene un cliente y te mira mal, ¿verdad? O por ejemplo, tú quizás cuando vas a entregar algo, ¿verdad? A una persona que quizás no sabía que tú eras la dueña, siendo hispana, siendo latina, de True Surprises. Sé que también ustedes frecuentan mucho los eventos de negocios, ¿verdad? Usualmente me imagino que ustedes suelen ser las únicas mujeres y las únicas latinas en estos eventos. Me imagino que esto también al principio te ha de dar un poquito de imposter syndrome.
Y no solamente eso, nomás que como es un negocio, es latino, you know, y work con americanos es muy diferente la forma que les hablas comparado con un hispano. Las culturas son muy diferentes. Entonces, I mean, nuestro language, inglés es our second language. So cuando ellos vienen es como que me estoy comunicando bien, me están entendiendo lo que estoy diciendo, you know. Ajá. Y como, yo no sé por qué, pero es como que, es como una presión solo porque tú quieres dar lo mejor y te preguntas, ¿estoy dando lo mejor? Van a ir a ponerme un good review, les va a gustar mi trabajo, van a entender el concepto. Son muchas cosas que las culturas son muy diferentes y empiezas a dudar, wow, su cultura es así, les va a gustar el diseño que yo les voy a dar o no les va a gustar o será que van a preferir ir con alguien más. Te empiezas a preguntar, van a contratar a alguien de su gente en vez de nosotros y al final nos contratan y es como que, oh my gosh, y si no hago un buen trabajo, y si me ponen un bad review, si no les gusta, y hay veces hasta hacemos las instalaciones, les encantan, and we come back and we're like, did we do a good job? Did you think you like it? So it's just like imposter syndrome over and over, but it's again, being like, no, I did a good job, you know, I'm Latina owned, I'm proud of it, and I'm just going to go and conquer, you know, and show them that we can do it too, you know, so it's just, es mentalmente pensar positivo y creértela, la verdad.
Wow, yeah. And I know we kind of touched on this already. Ya hablamos un poquito sobre esto, but the next question was, how did imposter syndrome affect your business approach from the launch to, so from the idea stage to the launch? Because I know obviously with a business, you have to start it off as an idea. Did you have imposter syndrome from the idea stage?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As we mentioned, we had so many years planning on opening a business. And I think que no habíamos tomado el paso because we did not believe in ourselves, or maybe we did, but then we started having these thoughts. What about if I fail? What about if I'm not good enough? What about if this happens? So you start like pensando, can I do it? Can I really do it? You know, what about, you know, si no me quieren dar el local? Without even asking, ni sabías, ni tomabas la iniciativa, pero ¿por qué? Por el miedo, por el imposter syndrome que a uno le da, que la verdad es como, it's a virus tener eso porque te limita a hacer ciertas cosas. Te quedas en tu comfort zone and you can't grow because you don't believe in yourself. And if you just don't think you'll be able to succeed if you open a business, you know? And I think no es bueno, pero le pasa a todo mundo. And it's just, you know?
Y con el negocio, yo siento que el negocio es like literalmente trabajo 24/7. Entonces yo siento que también de ahí viene el síndrome también, donde entran las dudas por la razón de que, estoy trabajando so much, y no veo el resultado que todavía quiero, you know, entonces ahí también donde te entra la duda de...
Am I doing the right thing?
Exacto. I need to do more todavía?
Am I marketing?
When is this gonna stop?
It doesn't stop.
Just keep working.
And then you start thinking, should I just go back to what I was doing before?
Exactly.
You know, but it's es seguir, es seguir echándole ganas y creer en ti y que no hay ningún límite para seguir escalando. And we have to start breaking esas barreras de que la mujer latina se queda en un trabajo, or, you know, we're breaking so many barriers que yo creo que es intimidating sometimes para nosotros. Mm-hmm. Vemos a nuestras mamás trabajando and stuff like that. And it's like, no, somos la generación que vamos a hacer un cambio y en realidad estamos haciendo algo nuevo porque hoy en día hay más latinas going out there, working harder, getting better jobs, opening their businesses. So yo sé que es intimidating llegar a ese paso de poder decir, no, yo voy a hacer esto y lo otro, y creo en mí y creo que lo puedo hacer, es muy difícil, porque es algo muy diferente que estamos haciendo. Nuestras mamás no tienen experiencia de negocio, no, so nosotros no tenemos un background that we can say, oh, my mom did it this way, let me do it. No, we're learning desde abajo and just going up from there. So it is intimidating cuando estás en un grupo de people que sus familias vienen de buenas familias, tienen la experiencia de cómo manejar un negocio, así se tiene que hacer. Y no, we're doing this from the bottom up, and it is intimidating starting something new, y tu mente empieza a pensar like, you know, is this okay?
I think it's a great point, because I never thought about this, but I think you're right. It has to do with identity, you know, like your whole identity was, you know, seeing what your parents do. And typically it's not obviously what we're doing or what you're doing. And you feel as in, do I fit in? You know, exactly. Now I don't fit in because I'm not doing what I was raised seeing my family doing. So that's another thing that can definitely impact imposter syndrome. You know, your identity, what you believed growing up you had to do, and being able to break those barriers and feeling good, but at the same time feeling guilty, feeling like, oh, you just got lucky. Oh, you're not working hard enough. You know, it's just, it was handed to you, things like that. This is a little bit not as deep question, but I thought it would be interested to know for the younger generation, I think. Do you guys think, or Stephanie, do you think, in your opinion, that social media has something to do with the high percentages of Latinas being affected by imposter syndrome? Do you think social media has anything to do with this?
Wow, sí. Totalmente. Yo diría que probablemente un 90%.
Wow.
Yeah. Yo me considero una de ellas porque yo la verdad de social media no me meto, ¿verdad? Eso no es mi cosa, y cada vez que me meto veo todo el mundo poniendo the perfect life.
Yeah.
Y it makes me think, okay, you know, like, that's not my life, you know? Así no es mi vida, so am I doing something wrong?
I want to do what she's doing.
I want to do what she's doing over there. So yo creo que esos son solamente mi ejemplo, ¿verdad? Personal, pero siento que hay demasiados casos diferentes, pero social media definitivamente tiene mucho que ver. Tiene mucho que ver, y todas... bueno, no nomás las mujeres, toda la población, sí creo que de alguna manera se ven afectados con este síndrome due de social media.
Y yo creo...
Yeah. No. My question.
Yo creo que social media sí tienen un impact en el imposter syndrome, pero social media tienen un impact como bueno, como malo. Yo creo que ya cuando vas creciendo también, obviamente para la comunidad más joven, yo estoy joven, pero ya cuando vas creciendo, social media ya no te va afectando mucho si sabes. Por ejemplo, antes sí, uno se comparaba y decía, yo no puedo hacer eso, or she can do it better than me, or if I can do it, maybe she can do it, you know. Pero cuando vas creciendo, por ejemplo, yo en esta etapa ya como que aprendí que social media, dejemos de estar comparándonos con todo el mundo, y mejor agarrarlo como un aprendizaje. Por ejemplo, en el mundo del negocio es como que, oh, ellos están haciendo eso, wow, qué bonito. Me gustaría tal vez incorporar eso, cómo yo puedo incorporarlo. Es como un aprendizaje, y enfocarte más en ti y en cómo mejorarte como tú en persona y como en tu negocio. Tenemos que parar de estar comparing ourselves, and just focusing on ourselves, how to grow ourselves, how to become better. Y creer en nosotros porque todos somos diferentes. Y maybe puede ser the perfect picture, but we don't know what's going behind, de todo eso. So, empezar a enfocarnos un poco más en lo que nosotros podamos hacer para crecer como ser humano o como latina. Yo creo que es muy importante y no dejar que social media affect us as it does so many people,
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, I agree on that. I definitely think it has something to do with it. And I like how I feel like you have trained your mind, both of you have trained your mind to get all these negative thoughts and turn them into positive.
Something positive, yes.
Like, okay, this is kicking my butt, but I have to turn it into something positive because you have to.
You have to think positive. If you don't, te vas a ir bajando y no vas a poder subir because your mind is not letting you get there.
That is amazing. I have one last question for you guys for tonight. This is a little bit deep, but I'm super excited to hear what you're going to say. If you could give advice to your younger self regarding imposter syndrome, what would it be?
Regarding imposter syndrome.
Wow.
I think I remember watching a movie, and I can't remember what movie it was, but something that I will never forget. One of the actors mentioned, don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution. So if you are experiencing that you're not good enough, then say, okay, why do I feel like this? What do I need to do in order to feel better? Or what have I done that will make me feel better? So I think it's very important to focus on everything that's going on a solution, to make it better, to make yourself feel better, porque al final del día eres tú y tú te tienes que sentir bien contigo mismo, porque si no vas a poder hacer las cosas que tú quieres. Y entonces creo que es muy importante, yo le dijera a mi younger self, to focus on the solution and not the problem, and just keep on going and just do it. Just do it.
Go for it. Stress about it, but you do it. What about you, Stephanie? What advice que le dirías a younger Stephanie?
Yo le diría, bueno, en otras palabras, pero exactamente lo mismo.
Get it together.
Exacto. No, pero sí le diría, porque quisiera lo que a mí me hiciera feliz, sin pensar si a alguien le va a gustar, si a alguien no le va a gustar, sin pensar a quién voy a hacer sentir mal o a quién voy a hacer feliz, simplemente hacer lo que yo quiera.
Like, stop pleasing others.
Exacto,
¿verdad?
porque al final del día, como dice Gisela, somos nosotros con nosotros y siempre estamos con nosotros o somos los que nos tenemos que ser felices, básicamente. So, hacer lo que a uno le haga feliz, y si uno quiere hacer eso, pero uno siente que otras personas dicen que no pertenecemos ahí o nos hacemos, pero si uno lo quiere hacer, just do it, Don't let nobody stop you for whatever you want to do.
That's a great way to combat imposter syndrome. Just do what you want, what makes you feel good.
Exactly.
And I think that will reduce the doubts that you have in your head. Mm-hmm. You have a reason to do things because you want to, like you genuinely feel good. So I've never thought about that. That's a really good.
Y yo creo que something que a nosotros nos ha ayudado mucho overcome imposter syndrome, poco a poco, ¿verdad? Es challenge yourself, get involved with people can maybe make you nervous. I mean, we've been to seminars, we've been to workshops where, donde dijo Rebecca, we're the only Hispanic, we're the only woman sometime. Y sí es intimidating, pero sales con un knowledge and it makes you feel powerful. It motivates you. So attending those type of workshops, and I mean, community colleges offer them all the time. You can probably check around your local area. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a business center in your area, and I would recommend that you get involved in that, because surrounding yourself with people que maybe piensa un poquito diferente de ti o que tengan un poquito más de power de ti will motivate you and be like, I want to be like that person, or I want to have that car. And that will make you work harder and not about yourself and be like, I can do it. You know, what do I got to do to get there? Y te va a motivar 100%, because every time I go, and you know, it's intimidating, pero every time que salgo, nunca pierdo. Siempre salgo con either motivación o salgo con algo nuevo que aprendí, resources, you know, and that just como que cambia tu mente, you know, es como que y también tus amistades, surround yourself with people que te va a support, que piensa un poco como tú quieres pensar, you know. Yo creo que esos son muy, muy importantes para poder ayudarte con el imposter syndrome.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your time, for your answers, for your honesty. I think it's very important to have these conversations. I think that a lot of people might think, you know, imposter syndrome is so common, like why even talk about it? But I think we all feel better because of that reason. We all go through it and we all feel it, and it's very constant. We all live with it on a daily basis pretty much. So I think it's even more important to recognize it, to know that it exists and to pinpoint it, because like they say, like, si no puedes contra ellos, úneteles, right? So like you can't fight against it, so you might as well become friends with it and acknowledge what you have to do and how you can help it. I apologize for my technical supports or for my technical issues. Marlene, I'm so sorry, but I think we're having a great time. So I'll pass it back to you and we'll keep going.
It was great. And yes. So, you might be thinking at the end of this conversation, maybe I am battling with imposter syndrome. So what are some things that you can do? So I would suggest talk about it. Like we've been talking about this entire time, talk about it. It can be very like uplifting to hear about it, like to hear other people's struggles. Like I know listening to the panel conversation, I felt like a lot of like relief and like understanding, just like hearing that other people go through it as well, and you're like not alone in this. Like this is like a universal experience. You can also like give yourself credit and praise when it is like due. Like you are capable of so many things, and if you look around and take the time to appreciate like the things that you have done, to like see how far you've come, like I feel that it would give you a little bit of reassurance. And whenever those like difficult times do come up where you are doubting yourself, remembering these things will like hopefully keep you like going and keep you motivated. And also like seek out resources and help, like seek out like there's like support groups. I know they have some at my school, and I'm sure you can find a lot online, and other resources if you want to know more about how like imposter syndrome might be affecting you, so you can tackle it like specifically for you. So some resources are these. I like looked at Harvard. There was a lot of informative videos on YouTube, and many sources online about imposter syndrome, and specifically about imposter syndromes within the Latino community. And I would just like to say a big thank you to our speakers. We enjoyed having you guys here, and we wish you the best of luck on your journey. And we see all the hard work that you've done so far, and we know that you guys will continue to do that and be very successful. And I wish you nothing but the best and nothing but happiness. So, and if you did like our event tonight, yeah, if you did like our event tonight, you can check us out on social media, and we will be having more conversations like these, more events like this, where we talk about issues within the Latinx community. I know that the Wisconsin Poderosas are having an event June 30th at 7:30 p.m. where they will be talking about like moms specifically, like the stigma around like single moms and like the super mom syndrome kind of. And yes, if you guys will be interested in that, you guys can register. You can check us out on social media again. And we hope you enjoyed, and we would love to see you at future events.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.